Hey everyone, welcome to the last video for this week of e-learning. At the time of recording this, I don't even know what the second week of school is going to look like, but regardless, all right, you guys are almost there. You made it. So yeah, today we're going to talk about solving literal equations. So very similar to what we've been doing the rest of this week with solving linear equations. But today we're going to be talking about literal equations, which are equations of more than one variable. So you guys definitely did this in Algebra 1. I don't know if you remember it or not. It's something that a lot of you guys have trouble with in Algebra 1, but it's really important, especially for some of the stuff that's going to be coming up next week. All right. I don't know if you remember turning equations from, standard form into slope-intercept form. That's something that you need this for, but also a lot of stuff in quadratics and exponential functions and all kinds of stuff. So it's important to be able to know how to do this. That's why we're knocking it out in the first week. So when you have a literal equation, all right, they're going to give you some kind of equation. Like for example, we have c equals 2 pi r. So I don't know if you remember, but this is the circumference of a circle. All right, so geometry connection there. But it tells us it wants us to solve for pi, right? So what we want to do then is we're still using our solving skills that we've been doing all week, except we want to get pi by itself. So that means we need to get rid of this 2 and we need to get rid of this r. So again, we're going to do that by using opposite operations. So we want to think about, what is going on here. It's just a bunch of numbers and letters next to each other. Well, we know that is multiplication, right? 2 times pi times r. And in order to undo multiplication, we're going to divide. So we want to keep the pi, right? Which means, we want to get rid of everything else. So we want to get rid of the 2. So we're going to divide by 2. And we also want to get rid of the r. So we're going to go ahead and do that in one step here. So whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So we're going to divide both sides by 2r. All right, that's going to cancel out that. It's going to cancel out that, which means we're left with just pi on this side. And on the left side, you actually don't even have to do anything, right? We're moving letters around, but there's no like terms to combine over there. So we're actually just going to leave our answer as is. So solving literal equations is mostly just about moving letters around. So this is actually our final answer, all right? Pi equals c over 2r. And we're done. So that's it. So that's pretty easy first question. So if you have like terms, you might have to simplify a little bit, but other than that, that's all you're doing. So we're going to move on to the next question. Here we're going to solve for p, all right? So here we have, again, two things that we want to get rid of, right? We want to get rid of this 1/2. We want to get rid of this a. Now, this is still all multiplication here, but we're not going to just divide because we don't want to divide by a half, right? That makes things kind of messy. Instead, we want to think about how do we get rid of that half? Well, remember I said we're going to be talking about this a lot this year, but multiplying by the reciprocal, right? So that's how you cancel out fractions when you're multiplying. So we want to multiply by the reciprocal of a half, which is just 2, right? 2 over 1. So we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. So a half times 2 is 1. So these are going to go away. So we've got 2a equals lowercase a p. So it's important to keep these two a's separate, right? Because they're different things. One is the capital A, which I think stands for area, and the other one is the lowercase a, which stands for something else. But now we can get rid of that lowercase a. So we're going to divide by lowercase a. So we're not going to simplify this, right? The two a's, because they're different symbols, which means they're different variables. So we're going to cancel out, and then that's just our answer, right? 2 capital A over lowercase a equals p. And that's it. We're done. That's the next question. So once you are able to grasp that you're not even really doing math here, just moving letters around, I think these questions are pretty easy, but you do have to really have a good understanding of opposite operations. So we're going to go ahead and move on to C. All right, a little bit more complicated. We've got a fraction here. So This time we want to solve for b, all right? So this is b right there. So we have, again, two things that we want to get rid of. We want to get rid of a, and we want to get rid of c. So here we want to think about what do we want to get rid of first, right? And when it comes to what you want to get rid of first, however far removed it is from the b, that's what you want to get rid of first. So this a is kind of like the first thing that's like right next to the b. So we don't want to get rid of that first. We want to get rid of the c because b is being added to a and then divided by c. All right, so we're kind of undoing that in reverse order. So we're going to get rid of this c first. So we're going to multiply both sides by c because that's how you undo division. So these cancel out. So we have now a plus b equals 5c. Now we can get rid of the a, so we're going to subtract. So that cancels out, and we are left with b equals 5c minus a, and that's it. We're done. All right. So again, pretty easy problem as long as you know how to move the letters over. Next question, D. All right, so we got more numbers here. Okay, so we might have some simplifying. We'll have to see. We want to solve for x. So this is what I was talking about in the beginning. This is a linear equation in standard form. All right, ax plus by equals c. So we want to solve for x. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing we're going to do, all right, we're going to move this whole term over to the other side, right? So we're going to add 3y to both sides. So now we've got 3x equals 24 plus 3y. And now we want to get the x by itself, so we need to divide by 3. And this is where we can actually do some simplifying on the right side. So we have two coefficients here. So we have 24 over 3, right? So 24 divided by 3, that's 8. And then we have 3 over 3. So 3 over 3 is 1. So that means we're going to have just plus 1y. So just y. And that would be our answer. So the only reason we are allowed to simplify this is because 24 and 3 are both divisible by 3. Okay, so if it was only one of them, like if this was like 22, then we wouldn't simplify anything at all because 22 doesn't divide by 3, but 24 does. So x equals 8 plus y, and that is our answer. Nice. Okay, so 2 questions left. All right. Letter E, we've got another little bit more complicated one here. So it wants us to solve for v, all right? It wants us to solve for v. So how do we do that? Well, we have some parentheses here, right? And we have a coefficient to that parentheses, that's a half, all right? So again, how do we get rid of that half? We multiply by the reciprocal, right? So 1/2 times 2, all right? And then we're gonna multiply by 2 on the left side. So these are going to cancel out. So we've got 2 times 7w, that's 14w. Over here, we're just left with what was inside the parentheses, so w plus v. And now we want to get the v by itself, so we're going to subtract by w on both sides. And since these are like terms right here, okay, we're actually going to do that subtraction. Okay, so 14w minus 1w. That gives us 13w equals v, and that is our final answer. So anytime you can combine like terms, you should. Last question is the same thing. Okay, so we did something like this before, so I want to show you the other method. All right, what if you didn't want to multiply by the reciprocal here, right? What if you didn't recognize that and you wanted to distribute? Okay, well, that's okay, you're allowed to distribute. So we're going to do that. So we're going to distribute on the right side, so that's going to be 7w equals 1/2 w plus 1/2 v, and we're going to solve this now and see, do we get the same answer? All right, so we want to get this v by itself, so again we need to subtract this w out of the way, so we're going to subtract 1/2 w from both sides. So what is 7 minus 1/2? All right, well 7 minus 1/2 is 6 1/2, so I'm just going to say 6.5W. I'm actually going to turn all of these into decimals just to make it a little bit easier. So actually, no, I'm going to leave this as a half. So we've got 6.5W equals 1/2 V. Now we want to get rid of this coefficient for this V again. All right, that means multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides, cancel that out. And what is 2 times 6.5? Well, you might have been able to guess based on our answer to the last question that this is 13W. All right, so that's it. That is the last question. So we went over a couple of these. All right, hopefully this refreshed your memory on what to do. Your guys' practice is on the back. You have 6 questions. Don't do those now. All right, we're gonna do those in class, okay, together. I just wanted you guys to watch this video. Any questions that you have about solving literal equations, all right, make sure to ask those at the beginning of the period. If there's any of these examples that we just did that you want me to go over more in depth, all right, I'm more than happy to do so. Other than that, enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.